Well, welcome. This is the Warehouse Series, and this is another Discord Friday. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Almost 6,000 subscribers. If you guys want to do that, help support the channel, I really appreciate it. Over 1,000 members on Discord. A great community helping you guys out. Whether you guys are a seasoned or a new selector, go ahead and join Discord. It's just a great community, and it gives you an idea. Like I said, guys, if you want a job jump and you want to go from one company to the next, this is a great place to come over and ask people that work at the new company that you're interested in. So definitely keep that in mind. Give me a thumbs up, leave comments, and if you guys want to support the channel, you could either donate or go check out my eBay store. So once again, guys, if you ever see my surveys while you're scrolling through, just take the time to do one click and help participate in these surveys. But after watching my video, guys, after 26 years, I quit. If you did not see that, is my previous video. Have you ever thought about quitting the warehouse? Out of 87 votes, people, 85% said yes. I want to tell you right now, back in 1998 when I first started, it was a lot more relaxed situation. It was a real laid-back atmosphere. We all had fun in the warehouse. Now all warehouses pretty much have cameras every square foot. So you can't, I get that horse playing isn't condoned on the floor, but it made the day go by. So when I first started, and I was 19 when I started. When I first started, guys, it was just so relaxed. Ask any of your senior people in your warehouse, if they have 20 years or more, how drastically has the warehouse changed? Because the way you guys talk on Discord, it is changing everywhere. All right, the warehouse industry is changing, and that is one of the major reasons why I left. And I want you guys to know, you're going to get a more relaxed, unangry person from now on, because that place literally made me that miserable. And thankfully, I have not been there since March 15th. It's almost been a month, and I'm absolutely loving not being in that place. I'm loving doing my own thing, and it's great. So guys, take the surveys, and let's get on to today's Discord Friday. All right, so this right here, I believe Samuel posted this, and yeah, I was. And I initially said, oh, this is building inside out, because I thought this was the front of the pallet until I noticed it was the side. Guys, there's two things here. The one, I have a video out called Walking Cases, and they start at the front of the pallet, and then they got to touch cases, touch cases, touch cases. Guys, this is not out of the norm. I see this so much in the warehouse, and then you get this the back of your pallet is just so tiny that you have no place to put anything. But not only are we walking cases, but we're putting the cases in the part of the pallet that I cannot stand. Guys, when you put cases like this in this part of the pallet, my cross and T, you leave yourself with a small corner. You hear me say it all the time, and every single time you show me a pallet like this, I will bring it up, because it is the absolute 1000% truth. You face cases in, you worry about your corners, you build from your corners in, and this is walking cases and putting cases like this in this part of the pallet. And here is their other pallet, which is just horrendous. Guys, I don't understand why. Look at this just column. I don't get the fascination when it comes to dairy. Okay, so let me say certain products. I don't get the fascination of running everything the length of the board. I don't know why people do that. This middle of this pallet, this is the front of the pallet. This middle of this pallet is your best friend. The more cases you have pointing in towards the middle of this pallet, the better. Bigger cases on the corners, point cases in, it gives you a stronger pallet. This pallet, you can tell, was wrapped multiple times. But this column right here, if you didn't wrap it, it 1000% would have fell. I mean, this whole pallet would have fell. We got a heavy case hanging in the gap. Everything that I preach on this channel is going on with this thing. It's not even worth going over all of it. Guys, big case, I mean, it's the basics here. This is just somebody that either A, they just don't know what they're doing, or they just don't care. All right, guys, now I just want to go over a couple pallets. This right here, once again, just because I say something doesn't mean it's the right way, but first of all, I like to fill up my board all the time. New selectors always put everything to the end of your board. I promise this little lip right here is enough to make your pallet taller and narrow, and then you're gonna have cases hanging off like this. The slip sheet, you didn't even need it, but if you want to, whatever. But this case here, I tell you guys that I like my new tie-ins, and this is my new, but I don't do it with weight. I don't do it with weight, with juice, and I also do it up higher in the pallet. I will never do it down this low. I want all my cases fitting level. So this would have just been fitting level. That's all that's to it. We got a case going this way in this part of the pallet. See how it just takes up so much room? just takes up so much room. If you point cases in, you're going to fit more cases there. This case here, if you would have just faced it in, you would have had room to put the sour cream down. It's just the basics. We're not keeping our line here. We stuck out because we put this case this way in this part of the pallet. The sour cream is that way too. If we would have had the sour cream facing in, this yogurt would have fitted. Oh, guys, I mean, it's got to make sense, because every time you show me here, right here, quit doing this. This whole middle section of this pallet should be facing towards the middle of the pallet unless you have a level layer, and then you can make this work. But when you run cases this way in this part of the pallet, my cross and T videos, you get yourself a pallet that doesn't fit on the corners, and it just doesn't work out. Face cases in. I told you the back of my pallet, I don't mind coming in, but everything else I like facing in towards the middle of the pallet. All right, guys, this one right here. Once again, we got this coffee creamer just hanging off way too much. I believe this is the same pallet. It possibly could be. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like it. It's just a different angle. But yeah, this coffee mate's hanging off too much. We got cases hanging in the gaps. So right here on top of these two right here, if I would have got this box and put it down and got these two sour creams, I would have just swapped that box out of there and dropped the two sour creams right on these doughs. Because remember, guys, when you have two something, keep going back. Don't force a tie-in. This is forcing a tie-in, and when you have a high to low in the middle, it's just not going to work out that well. So just keep going the same direction. Don't force tie-ins. That's the most important thing on this pallet. And don't hang your cases out, especially liquids that are going to get smashed. Other than that, it's not and don't just keep these together. So if you have a gap like this, don't do this to try to fill the gap in. Just move this sour cream next to this one, and then this small cheese box would have fit right in here. All right. So don't force stuff. Just this sour cream moved over, and then you could have the room for the low. Know your warehouse, know that you got smaller cases coming up, and that you're going to be able to fill in those little holes. All right. I believe this is, I don't know if this is the same orders or not. Anyhow, juice hanging off the side. We're not all the way to the perimeter of the pallet. No, this is not the same one. Okay. And we got the same thing going on back here. We're leaving holes in the middle when you have smaller cases coming. All right, don't be afraid to build around something and save those. You even had this right here. The sour cream probably could fit right there. Don't be afraid to fill your holes in with those smaller cases. You're always going to get, especially in the dairy, because your dairy should be set up where you're throwing bigger cases to smaller cases, and you're always going to have an opportunity to fill these holes in. So don't force stuff to try to fill in those gaps. Don't be afraid to come back to them later. All right, guys, these last two pictures are the same person's order. I believe this person was saying these were stop orders, and that sometimes with stop orders, you can't use all my techniques to the T. And that's cool. I'm glad you posted these. But I would have still, what he did is fine. I don't understand. Maybe all this stuff is all one case or all one order. I don't know how these stop orders work. But for selectors that have one store, I would have probably turned these carrots down on the side and then took this big lettuce and tied it in right here if I could, if that would have worked out. I would have tried something to get this back corner to tie in, because this is a lot of weight. And what we did is we had a narrow base, and then we started getting bigger cases, and you could see this whole thing could just knock the other side over. You desperately need a tie-in right here. All right, and that would have solved this whole back problem right here. So whether it was the onion or the carrots laying down and having this big lettuce come in, that's pretty much what I would have done with this. And then, guys, we're going to look at the last picture, short video today. But, I get it. So this is probably why this stuff's all stacked up back here, is probably because it's all one store. So I don't know how many different stores are on this. But so this is what I want you guys to do. If you work at a warehouse that have more stop orders, start tagging me in them, take some pictures of them. And if you can, let me know how many different stores are on here and what's your technique of building. Yeah, it would be definitely different for me. So I wouldn't know. So I guess if I take one of your pictures and it's a stop order, just tell me. So if I put one of your pictures on a Discord Friday, just let me know that, hey, this was a stop order and this is the reason why I built like this. And I could start putting those and grouping them together on my computer, and then do a video about stop orders. So if new selectors are working in that type of area, then we could do that. And I know you got to have all your tags facing out as well, so they can scan them and see what the stores are. All right, guys, so that's it for today. This is Thursday on the time I'm filming this video. Tomorrow morning, I'm supposed to be interviewing Sticky Oxtail, and I'll get that out over the weekend. That should be a good interview. He has a TikTok. He's a very seasoned warehouse worker, and I think that'll be very interesting. So another interview coming up. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.